right here, dude.
You may have noticed that Joe Biden announced today a new front in his ongoing war against America's middle class. Biden didn't frame it that way, of course. Democrats rarely say what they mean. They tell you it's about something else. In this case, Biden told us it was about Vladimir Putin. Biden explained that we're going to hurt Putin by making it illegal for Americans to buy Russian energy.
It's an odd thing to say.
This, he said, will amount to a massive moral victory for us. We're going to feel great about ourselves. And at the same time, it will be a crushing defeat for the Russians, who, of course, deserve it. So it was one of those rare occasions when we could see the good guys win and the bad guys lose. Hooray! Around Washington, you could almost hear the feverish applause as Biden finished speaking. Every constituency loved it. The media agreed that Joe Biden had never seemed more presidential. Democratic officials seemed deeply relieved. For once, they could talk about something other than COVID and the southern border. They'd rather be on offense than defense. Republican leaders, meanwhile, seemed happiest of all. They barked like seals. Finally, a chance to sound tough and decisive without making CNN angry. Thank you, Joe Biden. We can all be John McCain now.
Like never, ever, 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 ever.
You rarely see unity like this in a city as divided as Washington. The unity was so heady, in fact, so delightful and intoxicating, that no one remembered to ask the most basic question. Why exactly are we doing this? What's the point? Is the point to bankrupt Vladimir Putin? That might be worth doing, but this won't do it. Putin already has ready markets around the world for his oil, starting in China, in India, and Turkey. So that's not going to work. Maybe the point is to force Russian troops to withdraw from Ukraine. That would definitely be worth doing. But no, that's not the point either. Joe Biden will typically say absolutely anything, but even Joe Biden didn't claim today that sanctioning Russian oil will end the war in Ukraine, because it won't. So who exactly are these sanctions aimed at? Think about it. If you want to identify the target of a penalty, consider who's going to suffer most from it.
We'd think so, but no.
And in this case, the answer could not be clear. It's middle-income Americans. They're the ones who were crushed for 2 years under COVID restrictions. They're the ones who are about to be pummeled by shutting down more energy sources. Notice a theme here? The people in charge hate the middle class above all. So it's not Vladimir Putin who's getting punished. It's American citizens. It's you. That's not speculation. Gas prices are already the highest they have ever been in history, and they're about to get even higher, potentially much, much higher. So will the price of natural gas and the price of electricity and food and everything else you buy that has to be transported more than 100 yards from where it was made, which is to say, every single thing in your life. This is not good news for you, no matter what Washington is currently claiming. You are about to get a lot poorer. That's guaranteed. You'll notice as you watch this clip that that is the one thing that somehow Joe Biden forgot to mention today.
Today, I'm announcing the United States is targeting the main artery of Russia's economy. We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas and energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine. It's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production. That's simply not true.
So lying by omission is pretty simple. You just don't mention the truth. You heard Biden do that just there. But it takes something else very different, whether it's chutzpah or delusion or senility or whatever else explains Joe Biden's behavior. It takes something like that to tell a lie like the one you just heard at the end of Biden's statement. Quote, "It's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production." Oh, but it simply is true. It's demonstrably true and everyone knows it.
Okay, you know what? My head just exploded. Listen.
On his first day in office, Biden single-handedly killed the Keystone XL pipeline. Then, just days before Russia invaded Ukraine, weirdly, Biden's administration shut down all new energy leases and permits on federal land. That happened. Vladimir Putin did not do that. Joe Biden did it. Watch Biden's publicists try to explain that actually preventing domestic energy production, which they have done, is very different from holding back domestic energy production. Here she is.
Let me give you the facts here, and I know that can be inconvenient, but I think they're important in this moment. To the contrary, we have been clear that in the short term, supply must keep up with the demand. We are, and here and around the world, while we make the shift to a secure, clean energy future. We are one of the largest producers with a strong domestic oil and gas industry. We have actually produced more oil. It is at record numbers, and we will continue to produce more oil. There are 9,000 approved drilling permits that are not being used.
And what is that word?
The suggestion that we are not allowing companies to drill is inaccurate. The suggestion that that is what is hindering or preventing gas prices to come down is inaccurate.
Let me give you the facts here. Now, when they say that, you know the lies are coming, and indeed in this case, they arrived promptly. Because oil companies have not used all the permits they've received, Jen Psaki told us, that means this is their fault. They're not trying hard enough to produce energy. They could, but they don't want to. But wait a second, Jen Psaki. What if there's no oil or gas underneath the permitted land? In that case, energy producers would want permits for land where the energy is. Turns out they don't want dry wells. They want wells that flow.
That's a lie.